What's up, everyone? This is Tab B for Bacon, and today we are going to look at Lightbearers and AFK Companions. We are going to rank them where S being the very best and D would be the worst. Obviously, that's a normal tier list. So we're going to start off with the Strilda. She is one that I personally really enjoy. I think she's a fun unit, though I haven't totally built her out yet, but I do like her design. I like the horse with the lance, and the armoreds think it looks really cool. I'm going to put her in A for now because I think with Lightbearers not having a lot of strong tanks, she does have some viability as being kind of a tanky in-your-face unit that also can buff units as the round goes on, and I think she does have some utility in the current meta with, you know, not very many units in general in the game, but specifically for Lightbearers, I think she would fall within A. Next, we'll have Cecilia. She's kind of like a buffer, debuffer type of unit with some DPS. I'm going to put her in B just because she has some viability, but she's not really a unit that I would encourage you to like primarily focus on building. I think if you have a lot of copies of her, it wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily to build her out. But with the game being so new and resources being very limited, there are a lot of other characters that I would recommend focusing on. Now, Belinda, I think she would fall within A as well. I think she has a good AoE damage that with Lightbearers you don't really see with a ton of characters. That's kind of a theme that I'm seeing in the game is, you know, AoE damage is a nice thing to have because you can have a lot of, you know, tanky people, a lot of heals, but if you don't have the damage to really, you know, kill people, then you're going to be just sitting there and the round's just going to end or you're just going to die. So I think Belinda's good. She does die pretty easily, which is a big drawback, but I think if you have copies of her, you can build her out. She can be viable in the tower, in campaign, and she does a lot of damage once you kind of get her up to, you know, mythic and higher levels. So I would say Belinda's a unit that you definitely want to build out if you can. The next unit we have is Fox. Fox is a interesting unit with interesting abilities, but he's going to go right to D tier. The ceiling units in a coffin for 7 seconds ability is unique and a fun idea, but in the like span of a minute and 30 seconds, 7 seconds is not a very long time, and he doesn't do enough of really anything else to make him worth using. He does a little bit of damage. He can CC by capturing a unit, and that's about it, you know, debuffing and stuff like that, but he's just not really worth using. There's other damage units and Lightbearers that are just better, so I would never encourage you to use him. Next one is Gwyneth, who is just like a cool design, like bow, blonde, classic chick with a big giant bow that like shoots arrows from above. That's just classic video games, and so I like Gwen. I think for now, she's so new in AFK Companions that we're still kind of seeing where she falls, but the damage output is nice on Gwyneth, and she does have a little bit of CC, and so I think I'll put her in B for now. Maybe down the road we'll put her a little higher, but because I don't have a lot of copies of her and haven't really seen any utility with her yet, I think she's just going to be in the middle. Maybe if you get a lot of copies of her by chance. I don't know if I would recommend polling for her right now, but she is a unit that I think has a cool design that people have always really enjoyed, even if she's not the greatest. Now, Hendrik is also going to be bottom of the barrel. He's tank, and unfortunately in AFK Arena, if the only thing you can really do is tank, you're not really going to be very useful. Good tanks can also do CC, damage, other things, healing, shielding, and Hendrik just doesn't really do a lot of those things. He just is kind of a beefy guy and can tank fatal shots on some of your carries, but that's really the most unique thing he has, and it's just not worth building up for. Next, we have Lucius, who is kind of another classic unit in AFK Arena. I would say he probably goes in B, upper B. He is a tank, and he's a tanky guy. And unlike Hendrik, he actually has some viability with his shielding. His shielding is really helpful when you're afraid of getting bursted down or your team is just kind of squishy. So that is one thing that's nice with Lucius. You can just kind of throw him up in the front. Once he gets his ability off, he just pops those shields, and everyone is good to go. Besides that, he doesn't really do a lot of damage or anything else, so that's really his main purpose. He's not going to be like a Mishka who is just doing everything and doing CC damage, tanking. He's just kind of a mid-tier tank, which is why I feel comfortable putting him at B. Next, we have Moro, who we're going to put right to the dungeons in D. Moro is a cool concept with summoning a lot of different things, but he just kind of doesn't do anything well. The summoning doesn't do a lot of damage, doesn't do a lot of really anything else that's useful that other champions can't use, so he's going to be in D. No surprise for those of you who've been playing AFK Arena for a while. Rosaline is next, and she is our favorite maid, and she's going to A tier. She is a great unit, especially for being paired with your DPS units in Clan Boss and other game modes within AFK Companions. Rosaline is a good unit to have as like your support DPS unit who can really help kind of take your damage to a next level, especially with those boss battles within AFK Arena Companions. So Rosaline is definitely a unit that you'd want to prioritize, get copies of, build up when you can. I'd say she's not the first Lightbearer you should be focusing on, just because by herself, she's not going to do anything. You need someone paired up with her who is built out and can really lay down the damage, so she can really amplify that damage. So Rosaline's a great unit. Is still a decent unit in the normal game, but in Companions, she's definitely one that is top tier. Rowan is a fan favorite, and he's going right to S tier. Rowan is just a classic AFK Arena. I feel like when people think of AFK Arena, like classic or old, they think of Rowan. Rowan is just a fun unit. He's on my channel. I love him. He's my favorite design as far as like what he does, his looks, you know, the duck. I just think Rowan's great. Rowan's an awesome support character. You can throw him in on any team, any battle mode, arena, clan boss, guild activities, stuff like that. Rowan can just really slot in anywhere. His healing, his energy restoring is just really great utility and can really help you get the first ultimates off first in battle, which, especially in early game, if you're the one that get your ultimates off before your opponent, most likely you're going to win. A lot of times it comes down to who can get their stuff off first, which is why Rowan is such a good unit. You can even toss him in the front line. He takes damage, he builds up his energy faster, and then he gets everyone's ultimates off even faster. So Rowan is a great unit. Definitely you need to prioritize him. You will get a lot of free ones just from playing the game, but if you don't get a lot, make sure you continue to prioritize him. Next we have Sanja, who I think is a pretty cool unit. Her Rose abilities, her ability to kind of reflect some damage onto attackers and be a little bit of a tank for allies is cool. I think I've seen her a lot in campaign, doing a lot of work there. She can really push you farther than you think your team can in the Lightbearer Tower as well. I think later on, she might start to fall off as the game progresses, but I think in the early game, especially in the first 20 to 25 levels or chapters, she is very viable. So I think if you have copies of her, it doesn't hurt to build her out. I don't think she's going to be great in other different modes like arena and stuff like that, but I think as a campaign Lightbearer focused unit, she has some purpose in that realm. So I'd put her at A, low A, not upper A. So I'd put her there. And then last thing we have Thane. Thane is a unit that requires a decent amount of being built up. I'm going to put him at a B. I think when he's built out, he's probably more of like a mid A, maybe even a high A. But right now, he takes a lot of investment as far as copies and getting him up to Mythic Plus status. And so I think putting him at a B, like high B, would be great. He's just like a straight DPS unit. Kind of once he gets going, he's going to be really doing a lot of damage. But right off the back, he's just not going to be doing much. So he really does need that investment. And so I think that's what kind of puts him down a little bit. But as you can see, overall, Lightbearers don't have the strongest units in the game. They're kind of very average, which makes it nice knowing that like most units you build out aren't going to be terrible units, but at the same time, there's nothing that really excites you except for Rowan, and he's kind of one of those units you get a lot of copies of in general. So that's my view and my tier list on Lightbearers. If you have a different opinion, please let me know in the comments. If you think someone is too high or too low, let me know. But thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe for more. I'm going to continue making these series with the different factions in AFK Arena, so make sure you keep an eye out for the next video. Have a great one.